I want to welcome everybody to this demonstration. Iryna's Law, House Bill 307, what it stands for and the importance of it. Before we get started with this demonstration, salute to all of my moderators, salute to the chat, salute to the replay gang. Let me read my copyright disclaimer. Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as comment, news reporting, scholarship, and research. What that means is that everything that you hear in this demonstration is for entertainment and educational purposes only. Now, many of you all saw the live coverage of Iryna's vigil that I and Miss Parker had a pleasure to attend. Big shout out to the organizers that put the vigil together for Iryna, and also a big shout out for the community for coming out and showing the support. So what we're going to do in this demonstration, we're going to go over Iryna's Law, House Bill 307. I will come down and entertain the chat. Just give me a few minutes. So let's just jump straight into the Iryna's Law. Name for Ukrainian refugee Iryna Iryna Zora. Y'all know I messed that up. House Bill 307 is a North Carolina criminal justice reform bill that aims to restrict the pretrial release of violent and repeat offenders. The legislation was passed by the North Carolina Senate on September the 22nd, 2025, and now heads to the House for final approval. I think, and I don't want to throw shade, but this kind of bill should have been passed a long time ago. Iryna isn't the first victim to repeated violent offenders. It goes on to say the bill was introduced in response to the August 22nd, 2025 stabbing death of Iryna on a Charlotte light rail car. The suspect, DeCarlos Brown, had a lengthy criminal history and mental illness. And it's been documented that the state knew about his mental illness as well as his criminal history. Now, how was he able to be released? I believe 14 times. But this is a good bill, in my opinion. How do y'all feel in the chat? Drop a 1 if you feel like this is a good bill. Drop a 2 if you disagree. Now, key provisions of Iryna's Law: restricts pretrial release. HB 307 restricts pretrial release by eliminating written promises to appear for certain offenses and creating a new category of violent offenses that necessitate a secured bond, GPS monitoring, or house arrest. Increases magistrate oversight. The bill requires judicial officials to provide written explanations when authorizing pretrial release for defendants charged with violent offenses or those with multiple prior misdemeanor charges. Authorizes magistrate suspension. Magistrates can be suspended by the Chief Justice of the North Carolina Supreme Court for not providing the required written findings. Mandates mental health evaluations, judicial officials must order mental health evaluations for defendants with violent offense charges who have a recent history of involuntary commitment or suspected mental health issues. Addresses death penalty appeals. The legislation aims to expedite death penalty appeals and adds community a capital felony on public transportation as an aggravating factor. So the bill is pretty much is put into place to hold everybody accountable from the top all the way down to the bottom. Funds additional prosecutors. The bill provides funding for additional assistant district attorneys and legal assistants in Mecklenburg County. Now, there's always a debate, and let's look at this debate. You have the debate over the bill. Now, the supporters, the proponents argue the bill is necessary to protect communities and ensure care for mentally ill individuals. Now, here comes the opponents. Critics, including the ACLU of North Carolina, express concerns that the bill might lead to innocent pleas, doesn't address the root causes of mental health issues, and oppose the death penalty measures. Now, I will say that I understand when it talks about addressing the mental illness. It didn't mention anything about addressing mental illness. And I hope, because this is a very sensitive topic, very sensitive case, so I don't mean to offend anyone when I say this, but even though it didn't give the suspect, the Carlos, it didn't give him the right to take Iryna's life, we still have to address all of the issues. Appreciate this super sticker, Drea. We gotta address all of the issues. The suspect suffered from mental illness. It's documented. In my opinion, unless all of the issues get addressed, then it's just like, we're taking one step forward, but then we're taking another step backwards. The individuals that have mental illness, they have to be treated. And they have to be treated before a tragic incident like this happened. He did reach out for help. His mother reached out for help to the courts. Now, in this case, I believe that it's bigger than the suspect. It's bigger than the victim. The bigger picture is that the courts failed both the suspect as well as the victim. Because if they had got the suspect, the Carlos, some treatment and the help that he needed, then Iryna would still be with us. Now, that's just my opinion. Everybody have their own opinions. Now, let's go and visit the actual vigil that they had. And also, we're going to hear a little bit from Charlotte City Council. All right, so let's tap in.
Major change tonight for transit riders in Charlotte. Charlotte City Council voting to expand security across CATS 1 month after the deadly light rail stabbing of Iryna Zarutska. WCNC Charlotte's Tradisha Woodard joins us live now. So Tradisha, tonight's vote happened as the community paused to remember Iryna.
That's right, Nick. Dozens of people gathered here just hours ago in honor of Zarutska. They say they're hoping her memory will spark change across our area.
So all in favor, please raise your hands.
Charlotte City leaders are taking another step to tighten security across the transit system, approving CAT's plan to expand the authority of professional police services. The private company already providing security for CATs can now have the power to enforce laws beyond just buses, trains, and stations. That jurisdiction will now stretch to areas around the city's busiest transit centers along East Trade Street and the popular rail trail.
We should feel safe on public transportation. We shouldn't have to worry about being stabbed to death, being killed.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound.
While city leaders work to enhance safety inside chambers, outside, candles, prayers, and a community united in grief.
A young lady lost her life that shouldn't have lost her life.
Dozens stood shoulder to shoulder in silence, holding candles against the night air.
Who knows what she could have become?
She could have been my daughter. She could have been your daughter. She could have been my sister. You know, it could have happened to either one of us.
But now I am found.
As they honored Zaruska, they say the real measure of change will be whether riders feel safe again.
And if we can't protect a young girl like that, we can't protect anybody.
I'm going to feel confident when they put enough people on there to protect the people in each car. And from what I'm hearing, they're not doing that.
And Nick, that last statement was one of the biggest talkers echoed here tonight. A lot of folks saying they're riding the trains and they're not seeing an uptick in police presence. That discussion also happening tonight at the meeting. A CATS representative saying there will be change, saying there will, if you're riding the train, you're going to see more police presence, whether that's starting tomorrow or over the next couple of weeks. They say they're working to staff up and folks should visibly be able to see that change very soon.
All right, let me see what my chat is saying. Let me come to my chat. We got to watch our surroundings and not put ourselves in certain situations. And that's facts. That's facts. And although some cases, you know, it's hard, like in this case, in a million years, she didn't think that something was going to happen to her on that light rail car, you know. But as the For Life said, we got to watch our surroundings. Like, even when we're amongst friends, even when we're amongst family members, because a tragic incident can happen even when you amongst family friends, even when you in your own home, even when you're at work. So we definitely got to watch our surroundings. Shank represent. Yes. I was in attendance as well as Miss Parker. The spirit of unity was there. As I stated, you know, we were all there for the justice. We were all there to have our voices to be heard. And what I said yesterday is the same thing that I've been saying, and I'll continue to say it. We got to do better. We as the people, we got to get involved in our communities, because Iryna could have been my daughter. Iryna could have been any one of you daughters or child. So, you know, the littlest things count. Like the energy that I know that because they were so happy to see melanated people there, you know, just so it's not a race type thing. And we gotta get away from the white versus black, black versus brown, brown versus white. We gotta get away from that. And one way to get away from it is when, regardless of the race, if they are a victim, we all have to come together and stand for what's right. That's one way that we can put an end to this whole racism thing. If something happens to a black person, it's okay for all the races to come together. If something happens to a brown person, a white person, it's okay for us all to come together. But I really enjoyed being there. I see y'all. She had no idea that was going to happen. That's the scary part. Just minding her business, and her life was taken so sad. She was just coming home from work, Latasha. Just coming home from work. I see you, Time Warp. So, yes, we know that justice for Shanquilla. And if you would like to become a member to the platform, just click on the link that my moderator TT dropped. Coffee Girl says, you did well, Bardi. I appreciate y'all. I appreciate y'all. I see you, Dolly the Phoenix. I see you. With all due respect, there was a young black lady was done the same way in her city, Oakland, California. I think no bill was passed for her, and the guy that did was, and I'm glad that you brought this up. This is what I want to speak about. And I have to hold black people accountable. It's a difference when things happen to us compared to when things happen to others. When, as y'all can see, when this happened to Iryna, all the way up the ladder to the President of the United States of America, Donald Trump. Now, if y'all want to make this political, we can make this political. But I'm only going to state facts. So I want everybody to pay attention. Now, when Iryna lost her life, we heard it all the way up to the top. Donald Trump. And Donald Trump assured. And Donald Trump put pressure. But it came on that. Even when Charlie Kirk was tragically unalive, all the way up to the top, you heard it from the president, Donald Trump. Now, when Obama was president, all the things that were happening to black people, you only heard Obama when it was Trayvon Martin. Only thing Obama said was, Trayvon Martin represents us. Trayvon Martin could have been my son, whoop-de-whoop. That's it. Did he put pressure? See, and I really don't want to go political, but I'm probably going to have to. Black people in America, it's our fault that we are in the condition that we're in. Because where are the black athletes? Where are the black celebrities? Where are the black people that are in position? I'll tell you where they're at. They're somewhere hiding in the closet. They're too scared. They scared to speak out about the injustice that takes place to black Americans, because they're too scared that they're going to lose their position. Colin Kaepernick took a knee. Remember, y'all, he took a knee. And look what happened to him. And no other, well, some blacks did come to his defense, but 95% of the black athletes did not come to Kaepernick's defense. Y'all left him out there high and dry. Oh, why he do that? He should just come on, my people. So when it comes to the justice part, when it comes to fighting for justice, black people, that's up to us. Because let's keep it 100. Even though me and a few other black people were out at the vigil, but let's be honest, how many black people in position? How many black celebrities? How many black entertainers was fighting for Iryna's bill? None of us. Why? Because she was not black. So in our mind, it's not our problem. But the whites understood it. She's white. She was white. So we're going to fight for the justice for her. All the way up to the top. All the way to the bottom. When it happens to a black person, we don't fight. I'm going to tell y'all what we do as black people. We fight each other. How about that? We'll fight each other. You just looking around like, why you fighting me? I'm not the enemy. We're trying to get justice for your family member. Think of all the cases that we've been covering. Look, it's the family of these black victims that's fighting the content creators and fighting the supporters. So come on. It's a new day in time. It's a new day in time. And in order for any of us to receive justice, we gotta work together. I got one more. No, I actually got 2 clips that I want to go to, y'all. Give me a second. Let me take a quick break, y'all, and I'm gonna come back. Take a quick break and I'll come back, y'all, while I upload this next clip.
And friends and total strangers.
All right, y'all. Let's go to some more footage of the vigil. Drea says they are a part of the system. If they speak out, they may lose their contracts. It's a money game. And that's facts. It's so sad because her bill is going to help black people also. It was dumb for black leaders not to be out there. That's why I was so proud of you and Miss Parker were out there representing Shine. I appreciate that, Coffee Girl. And that's so true. Like, this bill is going to help everybody. Now, it's going to come a time, and I think that the time is now when we gotta stop making it about color. Because as we can see, there are bad and good on both sides. So even though this was a white woman that lost her life, this bill will benefit women. This bill will benefit everyone. It don't make a difference of your race. We must stop the competition and work towards collaboration and cooperation. That's facts. Make sure y'all drop my moderators. Somebody drop Dolly the Phoenix Fireside. She's a content creator as well. Make sure y'all subscribe to Dolly the Phoenix Fireside as well as Drea. TT, if you could drop Drea's link as well as Dolly the Phoenix Fireside. But we got to, where we're at today, we got to get out of the black and white on both sides. Because I do hear white people mentioning black privilege, black fatigue. And if it was a black person that did it, they would have been treated different. Vice versa, as black people, we got to stop leaning towards that. Well, see what happened when things happen to white people, they get the justice that the black people don't get. Well, black people, we got to come together. We got to, as black people, we got to hold our celebrities. We got to hold our entertainers. We got to hold our black leaders accountable. We got to hold our churches. Let me say this too. Black leaders, black people, do y'all see what the black church, has been doing to the black community for the last 60 years? How is it that these black pastors are collecting millions and millions of dollars and then they get jammed up in all these scandals? But see, as black people, we don't want to talk about that. We don't want to hold our black pastors accountable. We don't want to hold our black athletes accountable. We don't want to hold our black celebrities accountable. They got all the money. Well, I can't say too much about the celebrities because a lot of them is broke. But the athletes and the black pastors, they the ones in the community got all the money. Why we can't hold them accountable? White people should hold white people accountable, and black people should hold black people accountable. If we did that, I promise y'all, Mexicans hold Mexicans accountable. Asians hold Asians accountable. If every race hold their own race accountable, I promise y'all, the America would be that great nation. The whole world would be at peace if we hold our own accountable. Call these black pastors out. Better yet, stop giving y'all money to these black pastors. Stop giving your money to the pastor and have the pastor pimping on you. Talking about God. God wants your money. No, if God wants my money, let me give God my money on my own. Because I see what you doing with my money. Stop letting these pastors fool y'all. They've been doing it for so long. But they don't get held accountable. But we want to hold everybody else accountable. But we don't want to hold the black pastors accountable. I can go on and on and on, y'all. But let me come here, y'all. The system isn't designed for black people to speak out against injustice. The system is designed to continue to keep us in those chains as invisible as they are still there. That's facts. That's facts. I love you, family. I love you back, Dolly. Keep doing your thing. And if you would like to support the channel by sending a cash donation, the Cash App is $ERICMCINT. But we tired. We're tired. Yes, I'm hearing the black fatigue a lot. I hate that. We are going back. I stand with you. Yes. Can you do a show on that? I sure will. I sure will, Coffee Girl. My church has a link through text that allows you to send electronically. I was done when I seen that. Come on, y'all. Got the ATM machines in the church. Come on. Where's this money going at? It ain't going to God. Look, y'all. Look. It's time that these black pastors do right by the people, or it's time for the black pastors to hit the road. It's nowhere in the world. I drove down one Charlotte street, about a half a mile. I seen 7 black churches in a half a mile. Now just imagine how much money is being collected. Do y'all know I haven't seen one recreational center in the city of Charlotte? Where's the recreation centers at? Where are the basketball courts, the football courts for us? Where, somebody tell me, what are you doing with the money, Pastor? Be honest, Pastor. What are you doing with the money? I don't want to hear no Thanksgiving turkey giveaway. I don't want to hear no Christmas toys giveaway, because Christmas is a pagan holiday. Thanksgiving is celebrating the Caucasians taking this land from the natives. So you can miss me with all of that. It's the big picture that I'm talking about. I'm not talking about the small picture. Oh, we're just going to just do this little turkey giveaway. We're going to give this Christmas. Okay, we're going. No. We're tired of that. We're tired of that. Come up off the money, Pastor, because we're in some serious times right now, where these young dudes and these young females, they're not going for any of that. We went for it, but these young folks, they're not going for it. If you can't unite, if the churches can't unite with each other, then y'all not doing God's work. We tired of the little bit that y'all do. We want it all. We want it all, Pastor. Let me move on, y'all. Let me move on. Because I get real emotional about this. Let's move on, y'all. I'll come to the chat. Give me a minute.
Family and friends and total strangers held a vigil for Iryna in Charlotte tonight. Our Rachel Richardson joins us now live from South End. Rachel.
That's right. It was really emotional out here as people came out to remember the 23-year-old's life, but also to be a part of this community. I spoke with a couple of people about their biggest takeaways from this event. People fill the street in front of South End's East-West Boulevard station to remember Iryna Zarutska's story.
Iryna! Iryna!
You saw everyone of all ages, young, old, all types of origins and backgrounds, and just felt nice to have that sense of community.
Many came out from the Charlotte area, and some even coming out from out of state. Most people I spoke with said coming here was an important first step in bringing the community together.
You see people for one cause, and you know what the cause is, and that's for this young lady that lost her life when she shouldn't have lost her life.
Zarutska was killed on August 22nd, and this Monday, a month later, North Carolina legislators advanced a new bill called Iryna's Law, which would eliminate cashless bail and would make it more difficult for violent and repeat offenders to be released from jail in the future. It would also accelerate the death penalty and reinstates firing squads and hangings.
I like it. My honest opinion, I do believe the death penalty should apply. You know, so I'm happy.
But as far as the legislation, I'm not sure I have a comment on that. It's something that I definitely weigh. But I am glad to see increased police presence as of late on the train. My daughter's shared with me that has definitely improved since the incident.
Organizers of tonight's vigil also announced that they're going to be moving to have the East-West Boulevard station renamed after Zarutska. In Charlotte, Rachel Richardson, WBTV on your.
How do y'all feel about the death penalty? Let's chop it up a few about the death penalty. I see you, Miss Parker.
Celebrate the grand reopening of the new Ashley Mooresville.
Let's chop it up about the death penalty. I see you, Miss Parker. With all due respect, not all pastors are... Man, look, I ain't even going there with these pastors. I'm not going to do it with these pastors, y'all. Y'all can have y'all opinion on these pastors. I say all of them. Shank, calm down. Let me calm down. I ain't giving none of them no more passes. So let me just calm down. How do y'all feel about the death penalty, y'all? How do y'all feel about the death penalty? I feel like it's needed everywhere. And let me not be rude. Because I do have to let you voice your opinion. With all due respect, not all pastors are taking people's money and running with it. We all have to do our due diligence and learning about who we are giving our money to. I appreciate that, Royal. I appreciate that. I see you, 80s, baby. I see you, Carla. I see you. How do y'all feel about the death penalty? Let's chop it up about the death penalty. Even the Bible says an eye for an eye. That's where I'm at, Carla. I support the death penalty, y'all. I do. Who else supports the death penalty? Drop a 1 if you support the death penalty. Drop a 2 if you're against the death penalty. I think and I feel like an eye for an eye, because you don't have no right to take nobody's life. It's definitely needed in some cases. Most of them pastors are crooked. Shank, I don't know. No one has a right to take anyone's life. And it can, because when you look at it like, well, dang, if we're saying that no one has the right to take nobody's life, then how can they force the death penalty? How can they enforce the death penalty? So it can, and it is a very sensitive topic. I didn't believe in a death penalty before, but now, and I do feel as though some people do things that they just need to go. Right, like some cases I get. Now, in this case, the suspect says that somebody put a chip, the police or somebody put a chip in him. Remember, at first, he was saying that he heard voices. But now he did it so they can help him because they put a chip in him. But you took an innocent person's life. You took a person's life that didn't have anything to do with it. Appreciate that cash donation, 80s baby. So I'm against it because there's too many of us that are wrongly accused. A life for a life. If you want to send me some content, send it to my Instagram, Shank Rock. Okay, Shank Rock being see, Kimberly, you won't do right. You know I can't pronounce that word, Kimberly. But it's okay, Kimberly. I ain't gonna punish the chat on this demonstration, but it's okay. Just know the next Naziah Harris demonstration, I'm opening the demonstration up with a picture of Jarvis's stable of women. And y'all had Kimberly to thank. She know I can't pronounce that word. I used to believe in it, but with my nephew Journey, I do not. An eye for an eye. If we as Americans had strict rules and laws like other countries, we wouldn't be in the positions where we are in now. And I'm right there with you. I think when it comes to red rumming, I think when it comes to unaliving, I think it should be an eye for an eye, y'all. But that's just my opinion. That's my opinion. Florida has the death penalty for pedos found guilty for someone 12 and under. Good for Florida. Shout out to Florida. I wasn't even trying to be funny. All right, y'all. I ain't gonna punish y'all, and I ain't gonna punish. Go ahead and butcher that word up. I agree with you. There go Coffee Girl trying to be funny. I got two of my worst troublemakers in the chat. Coffee Girl and Kimberly trying to be funny. I'm trying to change my ways. I'm going to be mature, Shank. Don't punish the chat. I agree. I'm here in Baltimore. Ish is ruthless, and the kids are the ones killing that. Shout out to my people from Baltimore. And you know. And one of the best things that could happen to me was when I moved out of Baltimore. After being in Baltimore 35 years, growing up in Baltimore and living in Baltimore for 35 years, I had to see it got to be something different. It got to be something better. And our issues in this country is we're not being held accountable. Now, that's for everybody. That's for all of the races. We're not being held accountable. Remember, there's a law for us and a law for them, but you're funky messing with me. Let me get back to the demonstration, y'all. Let me go to another clip that I have for you all. Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second, y'all, while I grab this clip. All right. All right, let's see what this got.
Thanks for joining us at 10. I'm Brian Blakely. Tonight marks 1 month since the stabbing death of Ukrainian refugee Iryna Zarutska on a Cats light rail train. Tonight, we'll look at the legislation in Raleigh named for Zarutska, aimed at keeping repeat violent offenders in jail or getting them into mental health care. We'll also have the results of tonight's city council vote on the Charlotte area transit system, what leaders believe it will mean for security and how it will hope to rebuild the public's confidence. But we begin with tonight's vigil in Iryna Zarutska's memory. It took place at the East-West Light Rail Station in South End, where police found her body and arrested a suspect. Queen City News reporter Caroline Boyer shows us the remembrance tonight.
Charlotte-Mecklenburg police officers blocked off this stretch of Camden Road, not far from the light rail station where her murder happened, to allow people to honor the life of Iryna Zarutska. The clear message of this vigil: this young Ukrainian woman did not die in vain.
I feel like this could have been any of us. I feel like this could have been my family, this could have been me, this could have been my friends.
It's an issue that's personal and has captured the hearts and minds of people in Charlotte and across the country.
If it's not justice for Iryna, it's not justice for any of us.
One man I talked with drove 8 hours from Jacksonville, Florida to be at this vigil.
Did y'all see Miss Parker? Did y'all see Miss Parker? Appreciate that super sticker, TT. And if you would like to help me reach my goal of 15 super stickers or super chats, just click on the $ symbol and purchase a super sticker or a super chat. I can't believe it's been a month already. I understand it's hard for me as well. Sometimes I put myself in timeout. Jail is not the place for mental illness and homeless people. All right, let's backtrack, y'all.
Ukrainian woman did not die in vain.
I feel like this could have been any of us. I feel like this could have been my family, this could have been me, this could have been my friends.
It's an issue that's personal and has captured the hearts and minds of people in Charlotte and across the country.
If it's not justice for Iryna, it's not justice for any of us.
One man I talked with drove 8 hours from Jacksonville, Florida to be at this vigil.
I could not live with myself if I did not come by and just say goodbye.
He was one of hundreds who came with signs and flowers to leave at the growing memorial for Iryna Zarutska at the nearby East-West Light Rail Station. People honor the young woman who was stabbed on the Blue Line train back on August 22nd through songs, scripture, and prayer.
Jesus is our only hope.
The Mecklenburg County Republican Party and several local churches organized the event.
We need to stand up as Charlotteans, regardless of political stripe, and say enough is enough when it comes to safety. People deserve to be able to move across this wonderful world-class city of ours without fear of being murdered.
The hope is action will come out of this tragedy.
Too many people want to live in a bubble and they just want to see it on the news, say too bad, too sad, and move on with their lives. And I'm not for that.
CATS leaders are actively working on security changes. I spotted 2 bike cops patrolling the Blue Line, part of a new initiative recently rolled out.
You have to be boots on the ground if you want to see a difference.
People are also calling on the East-West Light Rail Station to be renamed after Iryna.
Do y'all think that it should be renamed after Iryna? I don't think that it should. I see you down there, Jamie. I don't think that it should be renamed after Iryna. But how do y'all feel? If this young man was truly mental illness, where are North Carolina mental health advocates? That's what I'm saying, chick. See, we can't just tackle one issue. You tackling what the mental illness patient done, right? And so you're advocating and you're passing laws to protect the victims, and you're even, but you're not doing anything. You're not advocating for mental health. He has a mental health issue. It's documented. Let's go, sis. I don't think it needs to be renamed, but the tribute was nice. It's so sad, even in Canada, they would rather give us medically assisted death than address the mental health concerns. And it gotta be addressed. We cannot skip over the suspect's issue. I'm sorry, we can't. Coffee Girl says no. TT says no. Chick says, see, we're forgetting what Ronald Reagan did to our mental health population. I see you, Carmen. We got a lot of work to do. And when they asked me about the community, that's what I was speaking on as far as the community. As a community, we got to come together. It can't be them over there. We are expecting to take accountability. But us over here, we don't got to take no accountability. We all got to take accountability. And we all could be doing better, including Shank Rock. I always include myself. I could be doing better. You could be doing better. He could be doing better. She could be doing better. We all could be doing better as a community. Carmen. The wait list is 3 months for MAID. The wait list for disability is 6 months to a year. And that's why we got to get a grip on what's going on. And we got to take accountability. And when we get called out, if I get called out, I got to take accountability. Let me just start with Shank Rock. I'll start with me first. If I get called out, I got to take accountability. But it goes both ways. That's what I'm saying. We all could be doing better. And we all got to take accountability. And nobody can take the accountability for us. And stop jumping in the way of people's accountability by taking up for them. Let them accept and take their accountability. That's what I'm saying. I see you, Thankful. I'm always concerned about individuals who are mental illness. We have no clue of what they look like. They present well. That's facts. And in her case, we all know in the million years, she ain't see it coming. She rode on that car, that light rail car. She rode on it before. She was amongst people before. She felt safe. She didn't see it coming. If she didn't feel safe, she wouldn't have had her back towards him and the other passengers. She would have constantly been looking in back of her. She would have been. She felt safe. So we don't know. We don't know who's suffering from mental illness. So does the girl that unalived her boss at McDonald's. Mental health is an unaliver, just like drugs and firearms. She suffered from mental illness. Now, in my opinion, you have to, and before they reach that level, before the suspect took her life, he had already issues with the law. His mom reported him. They had him in a facility, but they let him go for either they didn't have enough space, or either, I can't remember, either they didn't have enough space or the medication, or they didn't see a need for him to be there. Entertainment purposes only, you too. So, but is the mental illness because of drug use? That makes a difference, in my opinion. I wish if Pee Wee and Nikki Lynn, if y'all are watching, I'm gonna drop the link. Y'all don't have to join me, because I want one of them to answer this, Coffee Girl, because those are the two that I always run to when we're discussing mental illness. But that's a good question. Okay, Kimberly says, Coffee Girl, yes and no. That's an excellent question. And everybody that's watching this demonstration, let's zoom in on this question right here. But is the mental illness because of drug use? Because can a person that's under the influence of an illegal street drug, can they claim mental illness? I think that's an excellent one. Like that lady, Taylor Business, her mental illness was due to drug use, and she was sentenced to prison time. So just imagine what things are going to look like with people being kicked off Medicaid as it pertains to mental health. Yeah, y'all. We in some scary times, y'all. My sister godson, who became a schizophrenia, all of a sudden from mixed drugs, started doing crazy ish like throwing dog piss on his uncle, broke his grandma's nose, ran my brother over, and some more ish. Wow. Wow, y'all. Some drugs can cause, y'all know I can't pronounce that. That may never go away. That's true. They can't be trusted, nor I feel they should be roaming around in society freely without something saying they are mentally incapable, like a bracelet or something. Afeni was also a repeat offender. We got a lot of work to do, y'all. We got some serious work to do. We really do, y'all. We really do, y'all. As a community, we really do. She was also told to get MI services too. As a nation, no matter the borders. The man who unalived my dad, his was induced by drugs. You know I ain't messing with y'all, Coffee Girl and the rest of y'all. Y'all know I ain't fooling with y'all. Y'all know I got a problem. And sometimes I could get words because maybe I have read it and the word looked familiar, but you know, so. But my condolences to Coffee Girl. Can I get everybody to throw up some prayer hands for Coffee Girl? She lost her dad. We're in some troubling time, you all. We're in some troubling time. You do have functional people with MIDX that are on meds. Let me see something, y'all, before we get out of here. Absolutely, TT. I've seen it. If someone has been deemed mentally incapacitated, they should not be allowed to roam the streets unsupervised. That's facts. That's facts, Kim. That's a complex question. As a doctor in that field, there are drugs that can cause addictions, and addiction is a mental illness. I forgot, Son is in that field as well. And that's a good point, son. It's a complex question. But as a doctor in that field, there are drugs that can cause addictions. And addiction is a mental illness. Coffee, yes, my neighbor used to sell green and then started selling crack. He was bagging up the crack on the same plate. He was bagging up the weed, and he became schizophrenic. Facts. If you are enjoying the content, please hit the like button. Show support. Correct. Addiction is a mental health issue. To wear a bracelet identifying mental illness is a violation of a person's right to privacy. Wow. It's a disease. Wow. Let me grab a few more comments, then we're going to get out of here, y'all. It also has a lot to do with our genes and family history. Okay, let me drop the link for you, son. And if anybody else want to join me on the panel, feel free to click on the blue stream, y'all link. Prayers for everyone who's suffering from mental illness. Trauma lies in our DNA for generations. Trauma at a young age can trigger drug addiction at an older age. Does North Carolina have a well-known mental health program? I'm not sure, chick. I'm not sure. I agree, son. I need to research that. Addiction is a mental illness, but would that make them be able to claim insanity if a crime is committed? How is that any different from major depressive? That's true. It's on the individual to do the work and heal. Most people can't heal because they can't isolate themselves to grow. That's true. That's true. Let's not forget about stigma resulting in shame, keeping people from getting services. That's definitely facts. All right, y'all. I want to welcome my two guests. Statements by Rainbow and Sung Ji.
Hi, Shank.
Hey.
So I'm in my arrives in Miss.
Hey, how you doing?
Hi. So I want and you can say in your
You keep going in and out.
oh, and I'm in, so it's kind of hard. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So regarding mental health, we've come a long way. Okay. There's a lot of stigma involved in mental health, especially serious mental health disease, right? So that's the schizophrenias, that's the substance use. Substance use is considered illness, addiction to it. So we have to be careful. Like 88 OCD. So it's a slippery slope when you start to say people should be identified by their mental illness, right? There are people with anxiety, depression, all those things. So if we have people and people are wearing the scarlet letter on their chest, right, that identifies that you have a mental health problem, well, guess what happens when you go to ask for help? You're not believed. You sure you're not having a problem? You sure it's not your mental health illness? Oh, be quiet. Nobody's going to listen to you. They erode rights, especially for people of color. And that's just a fact. That's something that we see all the time. So for me, when I'm treating my patients, it's important that people understand two things. Okay. Number one, it is something that you live with. And yes, whoever said that it's genetic, it is. Can psychosis be induced in a person and introduced to them through a bad trip? Yes, can happen. Okay. That's why we say don't do drugs, kids, because it can happen, right? But you also have to deal with, besides the genealogy of it all, management and understanding of your mental health. For those people, there are two types of things that also happen. We forget that people that have mental illness, a lot of them have depression, and suicidality is what we call it. So because they're made to feel a certain way, they constantly battle the urge to want to harm themselves, or worse, self-delete. Then you have the opposite side, which may or may not pertain to this case, where that mentally ill person has what we call homicidal ideation. And in homicidal ideation, it is a compulsion that they cannot stop to want to harm others or themselves, right? So those people are typically what we see in mental health court. And we do things like medicate them so that we can control the thought, right? Does it ever go away? No. And for some of those people, those are the people that we deem lifetime incarceration, lifetime following, right? They can never be off medication. I don't know what happened in this case. It would be bad medical practice for me to try to ascertain what the assailant did in this case. I would have to read it and study it and all that other kind of stuff. But what I can say is that for those people that have family that have serious mental illness, it's hard for them. You can't control them. He's an adult. You can say, take your meds. You can call, you can get them to come in under what we call a 5250, a Baker Act, and try to have them in. But some mental illnesses that involve psychosis, that involve hearing of voices and things like that, it is within the brain. And something may or may not, again, I cannot speak to this, and it does not justify what happened. Murder, the M word never does. However, he could not control it if he's seriously mentally ill. And those are just the facts. I just wanted to tell everybody to kind of put some knowledge and wisdom to what we're talking about. We have to have an educated conversation about this. We have to remember that people with mental illness still have a right as American citizens, whatever that's meaning today. But we have HIPAA involved, the right to privacy, And we also have to come together in our community to stop thinking that it will be prayed away. You can't pray some illnesses away. They have to get help. And so I don't want to take
Say
up.
it again. Say it again. We got to stop doing what? Say it again.
We got to stop thinking that issues can be prayed away. That is an ignorance that has perpetuated our community. I'm West Indian, so it's very prevalent in ours. And we have to face the facts. This is what's happening. We have to recognize it, because if you recognize it, we can do things to help. And you can have a better quality of life. Knowledge is power. It always has been. That is how you win wars. It's not about might. It's about this. Okay. So I just wanted to say that to everybody. I'm sorry I took up the time, Shank. Okay.
No, you can keep going because you is a doctor. So this is your lane. I'm gonna come to you, States by Raymond. Give me 1 minute. Damn, I forgot what I was gonna say, y'all. But my memory.
Listen, I just want to speak to what happened last night, and why I think it was so important for you and Ms. Parker to be there, and for you to step forward and speak. Fear is also something I deal with when I'm in practice. I see clients, right? So I have my own treatment center, and I talk to people about that. Fear can cause a community to do things and be impulsive, right? Emotional dysregulation. That's what fear, hatred, bigotry. Those are people that they can't control their thoughts. They embrace the thought, right? Which is what we encourage you to do, but you're supposed to move through it. When things like this happen, people become stuck, right? Because not me. And if somebody blah, 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 and next thing you know, people are accusing people that looked like the assailant, right? All of a sudden now everybody, you can't trust anybody. And that's not what's supposed to happen. So by you being present, it allows people to see, no, that was an individual with a serious mental health issue. It doesn't mean that everybody that looks like him, talks like him, lives near him has the same thing. It doesn't even mean that his relatives have it. It means he had it. So that we need to do things to come together within our communities to help identify people who have those issues and other things, right? That's what the So to see you there and to see you as a part of the community reminds people we are all here. We all have something, but we can all do something to help make things better. So I just wanted to say kudos to you. And it was so good for you to step forward and say that. That's all.
Facts. Thanks, son. And am I pronouncing your name right?
Yeah, Sanji. Yeah, that's my name.
Yeah, because I said, man, why they be trying to get me tripped up with these names? Why she look, I said, why she just can't have it John C? Because I'm looking at the J with the man, I'm like, what the hell is wrong with this? No, I can't pronounce. Go ahead.
You can call me SJ, but my name's a Trinidadian name. So imagine me growing up as a kid. Yeah, I had plenty of fights for people to know my name. And
pronounce it though. Pronounce it.
It's Sanji. Sanji.
Sanji. So I was pronouncing it right.
Yes, I told you. You did good.
Okay.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Let statements come on there. Salute statements. Come on there, statements.
Hey Shank. My bad, I had lost signal. I just wanted to discuss just the topic that we're talking about, mental health. And when I heard the story of the girl on the train, and from what the mother stated about the son not getting help, I have a teenager right now that these last 3 weeks I've been going through hell because of mental health. Yesterday, had to put him in emergency, mental health services, and I can say it's been a fight within these last 3 weeks, and it's been ongoing for years situations, but within these last 3 weeks, me really seeing how the system works. And this is for a kid. And you're telling me, oh, he's 14, he has certain rights. You're telling me he has a low IQ, but he still has certain rights. It doesn't make sense. So we definitely do need certain laws in place, you know, um, because the system is failing, and we're going to have a lot more situations. And we have had a lot of situations where mental health has came, into the picture, and it was downplayed. And you can't have these kids out here. I have called the police in the last 3 weeks at least 10 times. And even with them coming, I had a situation last Thursday. My child has a pole in his hand, but y'all can't do nothing because he's not doing nothing right now. He's just standing there pacing. But I'm telling you what he just did before you got here. I got cameras. Do you need to look at the cameras to see what he did? So it's a lot. It's really a lot. And I've been going to more appointments, and then even if they know they're mental, but to get emergency service, having to keep going down to the courts every day for the magistrate to sign off on stuff. Sometimes you can't go downtown if you're dealing with the situation right at that second, you can't handle that person and be downtown to file paperwork at the same time. When you're trying to control them, it's crazy. So I just wanted to touch on that because I'm definitely dealing with it for sure.
Right.
I got to go in a few just to go to the hospital just to check on them. And even with that, it's a mental section of the hospital. Yesterday, he refused to take off his clothes. He refused to take off his shoes. Nothing happens. He refused to let them even draw blood. And I called this morning. Well, how did you ever do it? No. What do you mean?
I don't want. I wish there was a way that we could talk privately, because I do work with seriously mentally ill children from the age of 5 all the way up to my patients are in their 70s. Okay. I don't want to give away his privacy. It sounds like at the very least he has conduct disorder. Okay.
He has some diagnosis. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't want you to give it out here.
Sure.
Okay. But I would love to talk to you about some things that you can do within your community. I also work with the mental health courts. And there are things that many people don't know, right? And until you're in it and you need it, that's when you're reaching around for it. If there's a way that we could talk and I can kind of help you with the process and understanding, when we have them in, because he sounds like he's under a Baker Act. So we're trying to get him stabilized, and what we can and can't do, and what your rights are as the mom, and what advocacy that there may be within your state. So I'd like to talk to you privately so I can maybe try to lend some help to you.
Do y'all both have Instagram? Because y'all can share
So
y'all.
Statements by Rainbow is my Instagram name as well.
Okay, so we can message and we can talk privately there, and then perhaps we can get more into exactly what the diagnosis is, and I can maybe help you understand it, understand the symptomology, and what things are there for you as a parent for your right, so that you can maintain order and feel safe in your home, and your child also feel safe.
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. So
I appreciate it.
Hey, listen, you guys, I have rounds. So I have to take off. I look forward to talking to you, ma'am, and trying to help you. And thanks for having me, Shank. I just wanted to pop on, and just kind of give a little bit of clarity to this thing called mental health. It can be a lot. And for those of you out there that are struggling with it or have someone that is in crisis, please call 988. That's what we're there for. We send specialized police officers to your house, so they're already aware that it is a mental health crisis, so that that person in crisis is a bit safer, and that they don't fall victim to fear and lack of understanding. Okay?
Let me just say one thing. Coffee Girl, did you need either one of them before they drop down?
Well, because I kind of did have some I guess, some questions. Because I'm on the other side of, I guess, like the other side of the coin. Because I am more in the perspective coming from a family member
Okay.
of the victim. So so I feel, um I feel like the person with the mental illness gets more rights than the victim's family. Um, because the person who unalived my father had so many chances, right, to go through the system, and oh, he had rights to his privacy and all of that. And my father was 72 years old. He survived Vietnam. He survived stints in prison. He survived gangs and drugs, and survived living on the south side of Chicago. And cleaned up his life, right?
Hmm.
But he could not survive someone who had the right to privacy and got several chances with drugs and a mental illness, who kicked his door in, hit him in his head, and with a 14-inch blade, I'm going to say touched him because I don't know what I can and cannot say, touched him 17 times. And because
Mm,
that did not end him, drug him to the bathtub and ran hot water on him
mm,
and left him in his apartment in the tub
mm,
for 2 weeks. I called him on Father's Day and
mm,
got no answer. And then this person's
mm,
mentally touched sister called me with her histrionics, screaming and crying 2 weeks later, after, because I live in a whole different state,
mm,
and told me that she passed by my father's apartment and noticed that he had passed away. He was so badly decomposed
mm,
that we could not identify him. So I have had to deal with the loss of my father, and so yes, I've had to receive counseling because of depression. So you're the doctor, I'm not a doctor, but vehemently disagree with, and I've always disagreed with, people being on drugs, um that being a mental disability, because I did not choose depression. I was forced into this because of action. People who do drugs, they have that choice, and so that's the only reason why I disagree with it. But I'm just coming from a whole different side of this, and I understand rainbow. I don't have my glasses on, but I did see rainbow. I understand the struggle that you're going through, but it just seems like everybody is so quick to jump to mental illness, and it almost seems like people jump to mental illness and excuse the actions of what someone did by mental illness. And it's almost like they coddle that mentally ill person so much more, and tend to forget about the damage and destruction that was left behind what that person did. I am
mm,
forever, and my daughter is forever different now because of what this person did. And to make matters worse, that person doesn't even do jail time because of the mental illness, because they decided to do drugs and now they are mentally ill because of those drugs. Well, congratulations. Shall we give you an award?
mm.
Um,
Can I say something right quick? Miss Coffee, I definitely sympathize. I was trying to hold back tears while you were saying what happened to your dad. And for me, I can't speak for the world, but for myself, my son is 14 and is a two-headed sword as his mother. Behavior, child, even in my household, he's the youngest, everybody else is grown, and some of the behaviors he have, me having to explain to his siblings, you know I know it was wrong, I apologize, different things like that. So it's like me trying to focus, even myself trying to stay sane, because old school ways. Oh, ain't nothing wrong with that child. They just a bad A or something like that.
They
And
just
it's a back and forth thing for me.
Right. But see, I think regular mental illness, for me personally, regular mental illness, that's why I asked the question, do drugs make a difference? Because my only issue is the drugs. The person who did this to my father, their mental illness was drug induced. That is my only issue.
So it was called drug-induced psychosis.
Yes.
Okay. Well, first, let me just say my deepest condolences for your loss. Okay.
Thank you.
Typically, I don't know what state you're in. Every state has their own laws, and they govern mental illness as they see fit within the guidelines of that state.
Right.
Okay.
I'm in Texas, but this my father, this happened in Illinois. So
Okay.
that's a whole different beast.
So typically, universally, it is difficult to have yourselves or what you do um, considered or you're deemed incompetent to stand trial. Okay, especially when one takes the life of another in such a way, right? Um, so I find that circumstance that he was let off because he was under a drug-induced psychosis. No, that shouldn't be. In most states, that does not. That's a mitigating factor, is what we call it.
Hmm.
Not excuse the crime because they had a choice in taking the substance. You- So we would have to talk about it more thoroughly. But what I can is should have charged, especially if the psychosis was temporary. Now, was he on a manic psychosis and is still psychotic to this day? Now, if that person is still psychotic, then they should have been remanded to a mental health facility, a state mental health facility in your area. It should not be free. People believe that when people get to go to the mental hospital, the state mental hospital, that somehow that is an easier uh, sentence for them. Typically, they
And
don't.
see, I think that's where he is now. He's not in any jail facility or anything like that.
He's in
He's in a hospital.
locked confinement. Okay, so they deemed him. So it sounds like someone deemed him as medically psychotic, which means that that person cannot ascertain the difference between what's going on. So a normal person is usually aware of time, circumstance, date, and situation. That person by a professional, medical professional, it usually takes more than one, that they have to come together and convene, that they are incompetent. They don't understand what's going on. Inside of a state hospital, that is where the rights are taken away from them. It's a very odd thing. It's a complex thing. It's another subject altogether. We don't in this country have the right to force people to take medication, right?
Mm.
American citizen, we can't force them. Even when they come to me for help and they're in the midst of a problem, we would still have to go before a judge to talk to them about how we need to get stabilization. However, if you become incarcerated, you no longer have those rights and you must take your medication, right? So,
What about when they're in the facility?
in a treatment center for stabilization as
Ro-
children, that has to come from the parent. The right to uh, prescribe or to inject comes from the parent. They have to ask. So we would call you unless that child, and once you gave us verbal to medicate the child to form some sense of stability, there's certain drugs that we give to children that we cannot give to adults, et cetera, et cetera. So you have all those regulations. We have the child's propensity, health propensity. Does the child have epilepsy and all these other things, mitigating factors, autism? All those things go into how each person is treated in a stabilization unit. That's what we call them. We call them stabilization units. When they get to the state level, that is a locked facility. They cannot come and go. They don't have the right to do anything other than they're treated well. We do give them mental health services, but it is jail. It is jail. They cannot get out. And
So just to make sure I'm clear, he's in a hospital getting help.
he's in a state mental hospital. So what?
Getting help, but he's not actually being um punished for murdering my father. He's getting help.
Well, you can't punish someone that's not aware.
Well, okay, so
But
we'll just disagree on that because he hid the body. He hid the body. So in my opinion,
he
if
hit
you move the body and hide it from where you
on
unalive someone,
You feel that he had some sense to know what he was doing.
okay, or you wouldn't have moved the body.
And that's what I'm telling you. That's what I'm dealing with the rest of
So
my
I'm
home.
so we can so we just like you said, we're gonna have to stop praying and pretending like these folks don't know what they're doing. We're gonna have to stop saying that folks don't know what they're doing when they really do know what they're doing.
I gotta
Just
drop
because you
down.
have
The
a touch
hospital's
of
calling me.
just because you have
Let
a
me.
touch of some mental disability.
I'm dropping down, guys. The hospital calling now.
Okay.
Okay.
All
Because
right.
I mean if he totally was unaware, can we just agree if he was totally unaware, he would not have moved the body?
not necessarily. I'm sorry, not necessarily.
So you think that that he moved the body, but still he hid the body, but still because he ended up wrapping him up,
Mhm.
but you still believe that he didn't believe he did wrong.
I I think to answer
'Cause
that.
that kind of sounds like a consciousness of guilt.
Yeah, it does. It does sound like a consciousness of guilt, but there are also, it would depend upon what he was diagnosed with. There are certain triggers, certain behaviors that don't make sense to the what we consider normal mindset that some people with serious mental illness do as a part of their ritual. um, People with homicidal ideation typically started as children, killing cats in the community, dogs that come up missing. And then they hide it because they know that they're going to get in trouble because it feels like nobody else is doing this. You understand? I'm not simplifying it, but I'm just trying to illustrate to you that different behaviors occur in mental illness that to the normal mind, it looks like one thing, but to the psychotic mind, we define it as something different. And believe me, you guys, I have been attacked by my clients several times, seriously attacked. And when they're on unit, we cannot hit them. We cannot do anything to harm them whatsoever. Um, and so it is a risk even for us when we're taking care of mentally ill people. But we also have to remember that there are people that have CPTSD that have served this country and they've come back different and they have triggers, and sometimes those triggers cause harm to others. We wouldn't want them harmed because of something that they tried to do for this country and then they came back different. So my apologies again for what happened to your dad. We would have to talk. I would have to read it. I would explain everything to you. I wish that they would have done that better. We need to do a better job of helping our victims of crime.
Right. And I agree with that, but it boils down to now that's his personal information.
Yes and no. As the advocates and for the family, you have a right to know
Are
what.
y'all still there? I'm sorry. I got a call. I forgot to block it. I'm so sorry.
No, it's okay. You have a right to understand what that decision was based off of. As his family members, you do. And you can get that from the prosecuting office that played a part in the decision making for the assailant. You have a right to that. If you can get your hands on that, you and I can talk privately and we can go page by page, line by line, and I can kind of help you understand what they're saying and what it was deemed on. Does it make it easier for you? No, absolutely not. And I'm not minimizing, and it should not have happened. But there are some other things in there that you do have a right to, because once they are convicted, their rights do become eroded. So you do have a right to that information because they're now a member of the custody of the state of Illinois.
Mm.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
I'm gonna say thank you. I'm not gonna say it's okay because it's
It's
definitely not.
not.
But
It is.
I'm definitely gonna say thank you. But
Um,
it's not okay. And I think I'm not gonna speak for other victims, but I will say definitely thank you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you. But I will say it's not okay. And it's simply, if I can just take just one more minute and say that it's only not okay because coming from a surviving the person who is survived by the decedent, it's not okay because even though you explained it very well, what a family member hears and from what my family hears, his sisters and his nieces and everyone, what we hear is this person is walking around in a hospital free to do whatever they want because we've seen that hospital because we have other family members in that hospital. So it is legit a hospital
right.
with very limited, you can't go here. You get to walk outside in the courtyard and you get to hear birds chirping and all of that stuff. But yet we planted a tree for my dad and that's what we get. Whereas we saw what happened to my father, and with our knowledge, it definitely looks like you tried to clean up because you moved things, you hid blood evidence, you did stuff to where it looks like you tried to cover up things. And so it just doesn't seem fair. And that's just my opinion. It seems like a lot of the victims, sometimes a vigil is done and they are forgotten, and it seems like society always is quick to jump to, oh, it's mental, and they automatically start excusing the unalive, the whatever the person who unalived.
I'm
It's like we automatically start going to their defense, and that's just my opinion.
yeah. No, I do what I do every day, because I do want to bring awareness. I do want safety in our communities. I'm a member of the community. And I do think that we need people inside, that understands that these people are sick, yes, but they are also need to be deemed unsafe for the public. And as a mental health professional, it is my responsibility to recognize those things, to implore their family members to do what we suggest when we have identified that someone is a harm to themselves or others. But again, within this country, there are certain rights and steps that we have to take, before we can take away a child's rights to freedom or an adult. I can't say that on a locked unit within the state. In in all state facilities, they are locked in their rooms. They cannot come out. The same thing as jail. So they do the lineup, they do the count, they do all that. It just looks different because it's in a medical environment. So really, the environment is more so for those people like me that serve on that unit, to work with those people. We still deem them dangerous, and they are dangerous. Many I lost some colleagues to why
Right.
on a mental health unit, somebody tore the door handle off and killed my client, my colleague. It,
Very sorry.
it get to the hospitals, they're still sick and they're still a danger, and we're very much aware of that. And that is why most of them do not ever get to be free, and he probably will never be free, ever. And again, I'm so sorry that your father had to endure that. It should not have happened.
Okay, thank you very very much.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Drop me down because I don't remember how to do it. I don't.
All
I'm
right.
going
I
to
appreciate you, son.
thank you.
Appreciate you, coffee girl. Let me drop them down. Let's give it up for my panel, my special guest panelists, SJ and Coffee Girl, as well as Rainbow. Mental illness, y'all. It exists. Now, to what level? to what should we do with those that suffer from mental illness, we got a lot of work to do, y'all. We have so much work to do when it comes to what is going on in our neighborhoods and in our communities. Because if you are a family member of someone that was, and they use, I suffer from mental illness. How do you explain that to the victim's family? And when when this person that suffered from mental illness is still alive, some of them are free walking the streets, or some of them are in an institution and can easily, few months or years later, be deemed sane to come back to society. Now, I've always thought that mental illness,
Where would we be without our animal control officers?
Look, kitty.
But who am I? Right? Who am I to decide whether mental illness is real or not? I appreciate everybody for pulling up. I'll leave the chat running, and I'll see you all later on. Salute.
And friends and total strangers held a vigil for Iryna in Charlotte tonight. Our Rachel Richardson joins us now live from South End. Rachel.
That's right. It was really emotional out here as people came out to remember the 23-year-old's life, but also to be a part of this community. I spoke with a couple of people about their biggest takeaways from this event. People fill the street in front of South End's East-West Boulevard station to remember Iryna Zarutska's story.
Iryna! Iryna!
You saw everyone of all ages, young, old, all types of origins and backgrounds, and just felt nice to have that sense of community.
Many came out from the Charlotte area, and some even coming out from out of state. Most people I spoke with said coming here was an important first step in bringing the community together.
You see people for one cause, and you know what the cause is, and that's for this young lady that lost her life when she shouldn't have lost her life.
Zarutska was killed on August 22nd, and this Monday, a month later, North Carolina legislators advanced a new bill called Iryna's Law, which would eliminate cashless bail and would make it more difficult for violent and repeat offenders to be released from jail in the future. It would also accelerate the death penalty and reinstate firing squads and hangings.
I like it. My honest opinion, I do believe the death penalty should apply. You know, so I'm happy.
But as far as the legislation, I'm not sure I have a comment on that. It's something that I definitely weigh. But I am glad to see increased police presence as of late on the train. My daughter's shared with me that has definitely improved since the incident.
Organizers of tonight's vigil also announced that they're going to be moving to have the East-West Boulevard station renamed after Zarutska. In Charlotte, Rachel Richardson, WBTV on your